Well, good morning and welcome to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Thank you for joining us September the 6th, 2025. And we are live every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Here at WCCO, downtown Minneapolis. Welcome your questions, comments, thoughts. You can comment on the social media stream or 612-294-6949 is how you can join us at any point. The show is hosted by Mike Overson of Luminate Bank, Scott Wolmering, and myself, Ryan O'Neill, with the Minnesota Real Estate team. Appreciate you joining us. Got a lot to talk about with some market numbers here in the first segment. And Scott, always good stuff. Good to see you, buddy. Good morning.
Yeah, good to be here. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Like Ryan said, this is the Minnesota Real Estate Show. We'll be here for an hour, roughly. Love all your questions and comments. You can just type things in on any social media site. Comes directly to us, or you can call 612-294-6949. We've got some good news with interest rates that we'll get into today, and we'll talk about how the last 3-4 months are going to wrap up.
Yeah, absolutely. Hope your weekend's starting off well. Feels like fall out there. Oh my God.
It's
and I know it is kind of like late fall.
It's cold. I'm not ready for 50s. I'm not. I am totally not. I don't mind if it gets cold, end of September, beginning of October, but yeah. This is too close to August.
Yeah, it is. It is a fall season. First day. Today's the first day of the Parade of Homes. Friday through Sunday, 12 to 6. Got a lot of friends who are builders, work with builders. Great weekend to get out again, 12 to 6, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We're going to be talking a little bit about the parade. And again, the interest rate news, some big interest rate news this week. Mike's busy this weekend again. He's got a full-time job with the kids there too, Scott, right?
Yeah, a little coaching football for his how old are his sons? Maybe 5-6 years old.
Yeah, he's got
162, 163.
Yeah, here we go. We're going live on air. Thanks for joining us on WCCO. I hope your weekend's going well. Got a lot of good stuff to talk about today. Good morning. Welcome to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Thanks for joining us. Hope your weekend is starting off well. 612-294-6949 is how you can join us every week here at the Minnesota Real Estate Show. This is a live show hosted by Mike Overson of Luminate Bank here in the Twin Cities, Scott Wolmering, and myself, Ryan O'Neill, with the Minnesota Real Estate Team RE/MAX Advantage Plus. We appreciate you joining us. And again, at any point during the show, you can interrupt us, 612-294-6949, 612-294-6949. A lot to talk about with the show. Scott, good morning. Good to see you, buddy. Always a pleasure, my friend.
Yeah, good to be here. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Like Ryan said, this is the Minnesota Real Estate Show. We've been doing the show for a little over 20 years. We love doing it. We love your comments and questions, 612-294-6949, or any of the social media sites that you are following us. Just type your question in, and it comes on in. We're going to get into our 2 updates, talk about what's going on, mortgage rates. Luckily, the jobs market or the jobs report came out bad. Just kidding. But what that does do is it's good for interest rates. So whenever there's anything bad for the economy or potentially bad for the economy, home interest rates adjusted, and we had, I think, the biggest drop since when, right?
Yeah, let's dive right in. Again, 612-294-6949. Interest rates, the big news yesterday, basically was the largest one-day drop for interest rates in like a year. They're now at 6.29. So the average rate on a 30-year fixed dropped 16 basis points to 6.29 on Friday. And it said that this marks the lowest rate since October 3rd of last year and the biggest one-day drop since August of 2024. Rates are finally breaking out of the high 6% range where they've been stuck for months. Again, Scott, it was a pretty straightforward reaction to the jobs report. and good news for really for real estate buyers and sellers.
Yeah, it is, and it couldn't have come at a better time. And what I mean by that is we wouldn't have wanted to see a drop like this, in February or March of next year, because it would escalate the prices so quickly, because that's kind of prime time right now. Going into October, November, December, the slowest months of the year, having a price drop or an interest rate drop like this is good, because I think we're going to see the interest rate drop, but we're not necessarily going to see a home that was $500,000 yesterday now worth $530,000. I think they're going to hold pat. So you really do get the advantage of the actual lower interest rate without having to chase a price.
Today's a big day. It's the start of the Parade of Homes. Parade of Homes, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 12 to 6. You got to get out. Again, you can pick up the Parade of Homes books, or you can just go to paradeofhomes.org. Scott got a lot of friends who are builders, friends who work for builders. Just really a great time to get out, see what's out there in the Twin Cities, new construction. Jen works with a great builder as well. It's a good time to get out.
Yeah. My lovely ex-wife Jen, I actually went and looked at her new model. It is in Lakeville. It's Country Joe is the builder, who has, if you've listened to this show before, Jen worked with him, is one of my top 5 favorite builders in the Twin Cities for their product and also for their follow-up, and just a great family-owned business. So go out and check her model out. I think it's $1,090,000. It's a 2-story. I wish I had the address in front of me, but it's Country Joe Homes in Lakeville. Another great builder that I love is Robert Thomas Homes. And so if you, again, south of the river primarily, they will have a bunch of different products out there with Robert Thomas. And a lot of good builders. It's fun to go out. I went out yesterday for about an hour and went to about 4 or 5 places. And it's just cool to see some of the new trends that are coming in that, I've been doing this for 28 years and some new floor plans that I actually have not seen, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, again, 612-294-6949 is how you can join us at any point during the show. Again, got to give a nice shout out as well to our friends at Fieldstone as well.
Fieldstone,
Yep, Fieldstone Family Homes, great company, great ownership. So yeah, just be sure to check that out with these lower rates, Scott. Encouraging news. It's again, market statistics. We might as well hit this right before the break. New listings are up 3.6%. So 1,356 new homes came on the market this past week. Pending sales, accepted offers, also up 3%, 896 pending sales. The inventory, 10,445 homes for sale. And interesting, when you look nationally from Realtor.com, July's 2025 monthly housing report showed that housing inventory nationally increased almost 25% year over year, with more than 1.1 million homes for sale in July. And they said, this is interesting, while this is encouraging news, the total active listings, it still remains over 13% below the typical 2017 to 19 levels. So there's more homes for sale, but there's still a shortage.
Well, think about this. So 10,400 homes, I think you said. I think it was around this time or maybe a month later last year where we hit the 10,000 mark. And we were always like, oh my gosh, we got into 10,000 homes. Got to remember that the Twin Cities, a balanced market, equal amount of buyers, equal amount of sellers, about 19,000 homes. And so 10,000 homes is still very, very low, very, very low inventory. However, 3 years ago-ish, I don't have the month, maybe you have it in front of you, Ryan, but 3 years ago, we hit 5,500 homes. So, here we are 3 years later, and we've doubled the inventory to 10,000, which is still very few homes.
Yeah, it is. Again, when you talk to any agents and all of our friends at the different companies, so many buyer needs out there. They're working with the buyer, they're pre-approved, they're ready to go, and they cannot find a home to purchase. So it's again a unique time. Scott, we're up against our first break here. Before the break, wanted to touch on Mike Katerlich has a great listing This one is in Lakeville, 16421 Gunflint Trail for $617,500. This is coming soon. It's coming up here on Monday the 8th, and it's a 4-bed, 3-bath Rambler, over 3,350 finished square feet. It backs to 5 acres, 5 acres of conservation land. You got a large deck, composite decking, large stamped concrete patio, and a heated garage with running water as well. Great listing. Again, Mike Katerlich with the Minnesota Real Estate Team, RE/MAX Advantage Plus, 16421 Gunflint Trail in Lakeville for $617,500. Feel free to join us. We've got some texts coming in. We're going to hit after the break. You can call us too, 612-294-6949. This is the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Thanks for joining us.
I was going to say Gunflint Trail. That was my old neighbor. Gunflint was a street right behind my old house.
Was it really?
In Lakeville? Yep. Yeah, great area, great neighborhood. But yeah, Gunflint was one street behind us.
Gunflint Trail. Yeah, just, Scott, it's an interesting time. You think about it again, lowering of rates, affordability. We talk about it every week, just affordability for first-time home buyers. Average first-time home buyer age is like late 30s.
38.
Yeah, late 30s.
Up from 24 4 years ago.
Too expensive.
Oh my gosh.
The hard part, I've seen some talk online, and I wanted to get your feedback about lowering of prices. Prices it's gonna pop again. There's gonna be a bubble. It's gonna pop. Prices are gonna lower. What do you think?
Well, we're a long way from that. So if you're concerned about that, just listen to the show every week and track. I mean, if we are at 14,000 homes in January, yeah, you might want to pay attention to that, because we should be at about 8,000 homes in January. So if all of a sudden inventory started to climb to 14,000 homes moving into a spring market, yeah, we could get into a point where, we're back to a balanced market. It's not going to happen. It's just not. We're at 10,000 homes right now. Interest rates are dropping, which means we're going to gobble up our inventory in the next 2-3 months. And we're going to start off our spring market again in the 7,000-8,000 home range.
It's hard as a buyer. Again, you just feel like I was reading this thread on X last night. I don't even know who the financial guy was that put this thread out, but basically just saying that prices are going to decline again. It's got to pop. It's just too unaffordable. At least here in the Twin Cities, I don't see that happening. No. I don't see any pop. Any massive drop in prices. It's kind of the old adage, what I always, when I started in real estate, just buy something, get into something is really the key, don't you think?
Oh my gosh, yeah, it is, and it's hard when you have people sit on the sidelines. Oh, here we're back. We'll hit it on the show here.
Yeah, again, thanks for joining us. Hope your weekend's going well, everybody. Got another nice listing to touch on here with Laura Antolik. Before I do touch on that listing, got to give a little shout out. Miss Laura qualified every year. Our team, the Minnesota Real Estate Team, does a kind of a fun top producer trip. If they sell a certain amount, the agent and guest go on the trip. Laura qualified for the trip, and she's just an outstanding agent. She's got a listing, Scott. This one is in Plymouth, 4710 Magnolia Lane North in Plymouth for $460. 3-bed, 2-bath, walkout rambler, half acre. It's in a cul-de-sac. Lots of updates. The main floor has been updated with LVP flooring, new carpet, high-end appliances, fully remodeled bathrooms. You got a deep soaker tub. You love that, Scott, in the primary bathroom. Marble surround, 8-jet tiled shower in the second bathroom. Wow. Lower level has a finished family room, rough in for a 3rd bathroom, space to finish a 4th bedroom, main level living. It's just a beautiful place to call home. Come check it out. Again, 4710 Magnolia Lane, Scott, in North Plymouth. Laura Antolik. She's a sweetheart. What a great agent. Made the team trip.
Yep, she's a great agent. I see her at the gym every day. She's getting that swimsuit bikini body all squared away for Where's it at this year? Mexico?
We are going to Punta Cana.
Punta Cana, that's right.
Punta Cana, all inclusive.
Yep, and it will be a fun trip. Laura and her husband will be there, and just a lot of great agents. And it's I always give kudos to Ryan. These trips that used to be prevalent back in the day, back when I was in my 20s and 30s, it was the corporate trip and whatever else. Those are gone, and so the fact that Ryan has still provided this, motivation for the agents on the team. Everybody loves it. Everybody looks forward to it, and everybody tries to make it. I mean, they really do. And so it's a cool thing to keep out there for the agents on the team.
As my late father would say, you got to have a little fun in life.
Have a little fun in life.
You got to have hey, we got phone callers here. Rye's taking callers. We're going to go first to Jerry. Jerry, thank you for calling the Minnesota Real Estate Show. And how can we best help?
Yes, sir. I love the show, first of all. I listen every Saturday. I wanted to ask about the ads I see on television about these real estate agents that they're going to buy your home. There's going to be no commissions, no closing costs, no fixing, no cleaning. You don't have to do anything. As far as I'm concerned, don't they have to make a pretty lowball offer to make that deal go through, because they don't want to get stuck with a house if they buy it for the wrong price? So if you guys could comment on that, I'd appreciate it very much.
Jerry, I love this question. Let me add it.
Thanks for listening to the show too. Thank you, Jerry.
So yes, you're correct. There's not a real estate agent in the business that's buying homes to lose money. And so when they say you don't have to do anything, you definitely don't have to make any money in your house. That's the one thing you're not going to do if they step in and buy it. I've run numbers on these through the years. It's been anywhere between 25 to 40% below value is so if your home is really worth 400 and the premise of, oh my gosh, save all the headaches and just don't even worry about it. Well, I'll tell you this, if you're priced right at $400,000, there is no headaches. I'll put you up in a hotel. I'll have 15 offers for you on Monday, and you're going to get your money. These guys are going to come in, oh, we're going to save you all these headaches and we're so sweet, and here's our offer. And it's just, I'm sorry, but I have held this back through the years, I think pretty well, but Ryan knows on the side, it just makes my skin crawl. Nobody is giving you a guaranteed offer, guaranteed purchase without you taking it in the short. So yeah, stay away from these. If you want to know what your house is worth, reach out to us. We'd be more than happy to tell you. But yeah, they're not your friend.
Yeah, it is interesting. It's that trend in the industry, as Jerry, and again, thanks, Jerry, for listening to the show, Scott. The last 10 years has really, it's become a huge business for these companies of buying and reselling, to make money. And it is a business. And, there are situations we work with sellers sometimes, Scott, where they're considering this, but again, with a shortage of inventory in the Twin Cities, and especially in, some of the lower price points. You had a listing recently. I won't say the address, but the condition was not fantastic. No. It did not show wonderfully. And I think you had 7, 8 offers in a weekend.
Yeah. And that's what people need to understand in this, because you can get caught up in there's so much to do in my house. I'm just going to take this. I'm going to take this offer because no one's going to want to see it, et cetera. And that's not the case. This home, you could barely walk in it. It was very, very dirty,
full of stuff.
But
like a hoarder house almost.
Yeah, a little bit. And so we priced it correctly. We had 48 showings on it. So the people went to a hotel for the weekend. Get them out of there. So if you don't want headaches, just go to the hotel.
Did you put them up in a hotel?
Put them up in a hotel for the weekend. And when they came back on Monday, we had 8 offers. I think $20-something thousand over list price. That scenario, if it was somebody giving you a guaranteed sale, it would literally have cost them $70,000. It's because they had people out. They had 2 of them come out, and it was about $70,000 difference from what we actually sold the house at. In my opinion, it's stealing. And also understand this: most of it is a lost leader. Most of it is a bait and switch. They buy very few homes because, of course, most people look at it and go, that's crazy. But what it does do is it gets them in the door so that they can then say, oh, well, if the guaranteed sale doesn't work for you, we can list it for you. So that's really the marketing tool behind it, is just to get in to see if they can get your listing. because once you look at the numbers, for the most part, most people aren't going to do that.
Had again some texts coming in here too. You're welcome to join us either way, 612-294-6949 by phone or text. This is a good one, Scott. Maybe I'll comment briefly on it first and get your thoughts. This one says, "Good morning. Here is something our family is currently considering. We welcome your advice. 2 adult siblings have the opportunity to share the purchase ownership of our parents' lake home in Minnesota. As a real estate transaction, what are some of the important things we ought to keep in mind as we consider this?" Some really good thoughts, Scott.
Great question. And we do this a lot, and I actually consult on this a lot. Ryan, you can give your opinion. I'll tell you the number one thing that I would stress when you have family members buying a property. Everybody's going to agree on the value because it's your folks' house. Everybody's going to agree on what percentage of money they're bringing to it and what the percentage of ownership is. Your exit plan is the most important thing that you want to make sure is very, very clear. So you lived in it for 5 years, and there's 3 of you, let's say. One of you wants to sell, the other one doesn't. What happens if the other person can't buy the other person out? All of those kind of things, you want to make sure that is very, very detailed, or it can really ruin families. Because if one person loses their job and all of a sudden they can't make payments, what happens at that point? So you want to have all of that really, really dialed in, because owning property is great. Keeping your family together is better. And so going in with your eyes wide open on what are the strategic exit plans if we need it.
Yeah, it is. I view it almost like going into business with someone. In this case, it's a sibling, but much like any business that you go into, it's just understanding what you're getting into. Who's going to be contributing? Who's paying, the monies? What's the portion of the monies? Usage of the property itself. Again, your point about affordability. I think again we see it a lot. Obviously, this is a common thing, and it can work well. I mean, at the end of the day, it can work well. I think I would just set everything out so you have a full expectation of it. Maybe just pull out a piece of paper and just say, hey, let's put this on paper first so we all understand there's going to be no hurt feelings down the road when it's like, hey, they're using the cabin all the time, we're paying for the thing, and it can be problems.
Well, and the other thing is be upfront and realistic with things like let's say Ryan is extremely handy, can do sheetrock, he can do trim, he can hang doors, he can fix everything. Well, that is a value that he's going to be bringing to the property, which means that we're not going to have to outsource everything that we want to have done to keep the property up. You want to make sure that he's compensated for that up front, or else hard feelings come in, because if you're equal owners, but everything is, I look at Ryan to fix everything all the time. So we're out on the boat, Ryan's in hanging sheetrock and fixing, toilets and whatever else. At some point, that person's going to get mad saying, look, why am I an equal owner when I'm doing all the work?
Yeah.
These people aren't. And again, those are just little things that you don't even think about that will enter in. You're dealing with humans. Family is still humans, and everybody's got their I'm being taken advantage of. When I go to the grocery store, I'm spending $300 and he's only spending $150. I mean, just all that kind of stuff.
Hey, one other thought I would share on that again is that again, we work with a lot of people that do this. What you can do is you can have a real estate agent, a broker like us, to do what's called a facilitation, where essentially you put the purchase agreement together for the parties for a reduced rate, for a fee, essentially. But facilitation is very common. I highly encourage people to still do that. Obviously, you could hire a real estate attorney to do that. But Scott, as real estate licensees, we have the ability to do that too. And it's something I would encourage the parties to do, just to ensure a value. I'm doing a market analysis, talking about value, getting the purchase agreement done correctly, setting things up with a title company, et cetera.
Yeah, I mean, I had a very, very unusual circumstances earlier in the year. I had 6 ex-nursing administrators that wanted to, they were all retiring. They were all going to sell their home. They were all going to move in together and buy about a $4 million house. because, they love each other. They want to live with each other. Everybody would have equal ownership. The house would have a pool, et cetera, et cetera. That's great. Except what happens when one wants to sell? They're willing to pay $800,000 each to be in this group. Their little section, if they want to sell, isn't worth anything to anybody else because it's only worth it to you six that are buying it together. So how do you deal with that? Those are the kind of things.
Yeah, I got some more texts coming in here. And again, you can call us too, like Jerry did, or text in 612-294-6949. Before the break here, Laura Antolak, she's got another one, Scott. This one is in Farmington, 4876 191st Street West in Farmington for $498. 3-bed, 4-bath, modified 2-story, over 3,400 square feet. You got a great open floor plan, Scott. Lots of light, room to entertain. Kitchen has granite countertops, a walk-in pantry. Lower level has a flex room, could be a 4th bedroom, large amusement room, family room. And you got a fenced-in backyard, too, with a great deck, large concrete patio, new landscaping. Check that out, $498, so under $500. 4876 191st Street in Farmington with Miss Laura Antolak. This is the Minnesota Real Estate Show.
Oh, it's that time of year.
Yeah, really good questions. We got actually quite a few texts coming in here today. We'll get to those on air. Yeah, it's an interesting market, Scott, when you think about that. So just, I suppose every market has its challenges. But biggest challenges right now, you would say, are what?
Biggest challenges right now are pricing, making sure that's always a big deal.
So overpricing, potentially.
Overpricing is the biggest thing. Is we've been in this multiple offer. Everybody's chasing a house number for so long that a lot of sellers and frankly a lot of agents still have that idea in their head. And you do not want to get shop worn in this market. Shop worn means you don't want to get in 20 days, 30 days, 40 days on a listing and chasing a number. And that, I think that's the biggest problem right now is just being too aggressive on pricing, setting an expectation that the seller thinks is real, then it turns out not to be. And now you're in a reduction. And then when you're in a reduction, you're just getting so much less for the property. I actually had an agent yesterday. It's a house that we're looking at writing on that was listed at 900. They've reduced it to 800. And she literally said this to me. The only reason we reduced it from 900 to 800, which has now been on the market for 55 days, is because the sellers really can't wait. If they could wait, they'd get the 900. I cannot believe that an actual real estate agent believes that in their head.
Yeah.
That if they're willing to wait for a number, it's going to get better. And of course, we know it's the complete opposite of that. And so I'm thinking, unfortunately for these people, they went at a number. Now they're ending up with way less.
Are you you've been working out?
Yeah, I've been working out.
You're drinking water over there, though, dude.
I am.
That's good. That's very good. Hey, we appreciate you joining us, having a little fun on the show. We're going back live. Thanks to Ryan Perpich. Hey, welcome back to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. We appreciate it. Hope your weekend's going well. We got some questions coming in here, buddy. 612-294-6949 is how you can join us. This question says, hey, good morning. Love the show. Quick question. I bought my home in 2020. I bought the rate down to 2% at closing. Wow, yowzers. Good for you. What is the absolute lowest someone could buy the rate down to currently? Just curious. What's the absolute lowest, Scott? What do you think?
Well, I wish Mike Overson was here, but buying a rate down is just money. And so, if it's at 6.5% right now, he could do the math, but frankly, you could buy it down to whatever you want to buy it down to.
You could do like a 2-1 buy down.
You could do a 2-1 buy down. You could do a 3-1 buy down. You could throw $150,000 at it and buy the rate down to 3%. You could. But again, I wish Mike was here because he might correct me if there's any kind of legalese in there. But yeah, it's just money. A buy down is just money. So if you want to buy it down, you figure out what the amount is that needs to be paid in, and you buy it down. A 2-1 buy down is what Ryan's talking about. Buys the rates 2% lower for the first year. So if it's a 6.5, it would be 4.5. Then the next year would be 5.5, and then it would go to the current rate, which would be 6.5.
Yeah, and again, 1 point typically costs 1% of your loan amount.
Yeah.
So you're paying that money at closing. With a 2% rate, though, in 2020, again, good for you. Good for you. And that is, that's part of our market right now. That's part of the reason we got 10,000 homes for sale. And people say, look, hey, yeah, maybe we should move. We're the family's getting bigger. We're expanding, but I got a 2% rate here. I don't know if I want to do that. And
Secondly, if it's an FHA rate, if you've bought down an FHA loan, FHA is assumable. So let me explain that. So let's say you have the exact same townhome as your neighbor, and your neighbor's house is worth $300,000 and your house is worth $300,000. Your neighbor is going to sell his house outright. Somebody's going to come in with a 6.5% rate. You can offer your 2% rate. How much money do you think that's worth to somebody on that same exact house? 300,
right?
20 grand?
Yeah.
25 maybe? Would you pay 325 for a house that's worth 300 to have a 4.5% less interest rate on that house? I would say that the majority of people would.
Yeah. Again, 612-294-6949 is how you can join us. Had one other question here from a friend, Lois Tuma. Thanks for listening to the show, Lois, and appreciate your text. She said, real estate show. Good morning, Ryan and Scott. I've heard ads on, quote, stealing your home title, unquote, and a company that's going to protect you. Is this a real problem or a scam? Just wondering. Thank you, Lois. Scott, what do you think?
Well, we've had this question about 4 times over the last year, and I ask the same question every time. If this has actually happened to somebody that's out there listening, please call and tell me how it happened. Because we were talking about this a couple weeks ago. I don't believe there's a mechanism for this even to happen, because what they're saying is somebody goes in, they steal your title, and then they go and they take your equity, meaning they fill out this form and they fax it over, and then someone sends you $150,000. That is not how doing an equity loan on your house works. You're going to show up at closing with ID, sign a bunch of documents. There is no one-page, hey, send me a check for $150,000. So in my opinion, it's BS.
Yeah.
Now, if somebody has actually had it happen to them, I would like to hear it, because Mike and I were talking about, I just don't think there's a mechanism in place to even do it.
Yeah, the only thing I would say, I also think I agree 100% with what Scott just said, Lois. The only times I've seen issues with stealing around closings is when you're buying a property. Okay, so when you're buying it, you go to the title company, and the title company is going to communicate with you on how you wire those funds to them.
Yes, correct.
And what happened over the last few years, there's been some cases where people have tried to impersonate the title company and said, hey, I work with ABC Title Company, and here's my banking info. And so then buyers who have sent the money to the wrong place. Now, again, title companies have gotten very wise to that. I can think of, Trademark Title. Charity Mullenberg is the owner. She does a wonderful job. There's all types of security measures in place to determine where you're going to wire that money before the money is sent. That's the only way I've seen any type of problems regarding purchase insurance. Don't do it, is what I would say.
Yeah, I mean, because what they've been saying is people go online, they fill out a couple forms, they take over your title, you don't even know about it, and then they go in and they take all your equity out of it, and you don't even know about it, and they're just, that isn't happening.
They not only take the title, but they also just grab your
here's a joke.
6-pack of Diet Coke in the fridge.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? They're coming into the house. Let's get the Diet Coke, and by the way, can you take the title, please?
Right, please. Yeah, I would not worry about it. But again, if there's somebody out there that can show me where I'm incorrect and it's actually happened to somebody, I would be very curious to hear it.
But it's a good point. You think about it, like owning a boat, Rye. We were talking about boats. Rye, are you going to buy a boat, by the way?
Somewhere down the road here. But, I got a lot of house stuff to figure out first here.
So Rise was talking about on Minnetonka today. What's the big event going on?
There is a antique and classic boat show happening at Lord Fletcher's. So I'm going to go there and BS with the old timers and look at some just beautiful works of art, that old boats. It's wonderful.
So the problem with me is I'd be stuck at the antique show and I'd never want to leave.
So
if I went.
So think about that though. When you own a boat, you have a what? You have a physical title,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
So I think part of it is with real estate, and that was my only point I wanted to make with cars. You've got this, so you think of, hey, boy, is someone going to break into my home and take my title to my house? No.
Nope, they're not. And again, the title part's one thing, but actually being able to get money from it. There is no, hey, fill out this form, wire me my 150 grand in equity. That does not exist. You are showing up at a title company, you are filling out the forms in triplicate. So I just I don't understand how there'd be any avenue whatsoever to actually get at your funds. Hey, I got a new listing that's going on Tuesday. I want to make sure I hit this before I forget. It's 644 Genevieve Trail. It's a townhome in Cottage Grove, built just a few years ago. These are longtime sellers of mine. They have put $17,000 in the home since they bought it. They replaced the granite with quartz countertop. There's 3 bedrooms up. Finishings are incredible. They went with a engineered hardwood floor that they replaced afterwards. So excellent property. Going to be priced at $350,000. It's a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, and it is 6444 Genevieve Trail in Cottage Grove, and that will be coming soon on Tuesday.
Yeah, again, 612-294-6949 is how you can join us here at the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Our goal with this show is to help provide you good information in your buying, selling decisions, investing in real estate. If you're out there listening right now, you're a young person, you're an older person, and you're like, hey, you know what? I want to be able to make some money with real estate someday. What do you think I'd tell them, Scott?
I think that you would tell them to go and throw a dart, buy a house, and rent it, and start. That is probably the biggest problem that people have, is they're waiting for the perfect home to buy. So I think you would tell them to go out there, get something that's going to cash flow a little bit, keep it as a long-term rental, and start building some wealth.
Just buy something.
Yeah.
Buy something. And I know it's hard. Affordability is a huge issue in our market right now. Here's the thing, though. Prices are not going to go down in the Twin Cities. We have a shortage of inventory. We've got a strong labor market. We've got people moving to the Twin Cities, strong projections of continued people moving here. I was reading this thread on X or Twitter last night. The guy's like, yeah, it's a bubble. Prices are going to be going down. I know affordability is an issue, Scott, but I do not see prices going down.
Well, and just think about the difference between this and the crash in 2006. So in 2006, if you could fog a mirror, you could buy a property. If you could fog a mirror, you could buy a property with zero money out of your pocket and literally not cost a dime to buy $1 million property. You didn't have to have a job. You didn't have to have income. You didn't have to have all of that's gone. So you have appraisers that are actual appraisers now that are looking at the property value as it should be. You've got a slow progression of appreciation, 3, 4, 5% a year. Back in 2003 through 2006, it was 15 to 17% every year. You buy a house for $500 grand. A year later, you do a refi and you take out $100,000 because now it's worth $6 million. All that's gone. So there's not the same indicators as we had then.
A question says, guys, why not find out from the county's register of titles any info on title theft?
Yeah, you could definitely do that. I mean, I think they're going to say the same thing. You know what? Before next week's show, I will do that. I will call and find out if they've ever run across this, because again, I don't think it's a thing.
Yeah, really good question. We will, Scott. That's your to-do item.
That's my to-do item. I will look into it and see if I can find someone that's actually had their title stolen.
Yeah, title theft. 612-294-6949. We got lots of questions this week. Thanks for listening, everybody. We appreciate your interaction, whether it's by phone, text, or commenting on our social media stream. You're always welcome to join us. This is the Minnesota Real Estate Show. That's an interesting comment about title theft.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's happening.
No.
I mean, personally, I think you're going to call, who are you going to call?
The title registrar and say, hey, how many title thefts do you have happen in a year? They'll be like, none.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Interesting stuff. Pray to home, Scott. You going to get out today, bud?
I went out yesterday a little bit. I will probably get out and take a look at a few more. Yeah, it's if you've never been, it's fun. I mean, you can go out and see all the new kind of colors. What are they going to? Are they staying with white cabinets? Are they starting to go back to regular cherry? Where I'm starting to see that again. I'm starting to see some darker cabinetry come back. And we've been on a good 10 to 15 year run of white, and starting to see that go away a little bit.
What do you think? I mean, do you think that will continue as a trend?
Yeah, I mean, everything circles. So I mean, if you go back 30 years ago, white was hot. Then we went to dark woods. We went to that. Remember the honeycomb oak that was hot in the 80s?
Yeah.
Yeah, everything circles. We're seeing a lot of mixture of wood now. So white cabinets, dark island that matches the wood on the fireplace. But drastic colors, white to black, that kind of thing. We're seeing a lot of that.
Yeah. Again, interesting market. Rates, again, if you missed in the first segment, rates, pretty sizable drop down to the it's basically 6.25, right around there. Will rates continue to drop? Will the Fed lower rates? You're coming up soon. How will that affect interest rates? Inventory numbers, again, still about 10,000 homes for sale. A lot of stuff selling quickly. Some stuff just sitting on the market. Any really overpriced listings really sitting, price reductions on there. So it's kind of your typical market in that sense, Scott.
Yeah, it is. And, people ask all the time, when I make the comment that you can't underprice a house but you can definitely overprice it. And why does that make sense? And again, I'll go back to 2006. 2006, you had to protect your list number because you might have 3 showings in 4 months. So you could leave money on the table then if you weren't exactly correct because there wasn't enough pressure to overcome it. Now, you're talking about 25 showings in 4 days, 5 days. Your house should be sold 3 times by then. And so that's the difference. That's why you can't underprice it. There's just too much pent up demand.
Yeah, 612-294-6949. Thank you all for your kind comments. A lot of friends, partners in the industry, builders, fellow agents with some nice comments this morning. Thank you. We do appreciate you joining us here. Got our final segment of the show, about 8 minutes left here. And here we go. We're going to go back live on air. Hey, Scott, I wanted to bring back our weekly moment of hope.
Yes.
With the O'Neill Foundation of Hope, just to share. This past week, there was a wonderful young lady we met, Nikayla. She's a mother of 3. She suffers from a pretty serious infection, required lots of regular hospital stays, doctor office visits. Her children, of course, as a single parent, rely on her. She's been working tirelessly. She just picked up actually a second job at Walmart as well. But after several hospital visits, missed work, she fell behind on rent. She was up for eviction. She got nominated to the O'Neill Foundation of Hope by our friends at St. Vincent de Paul, Jolene, and thankfully together as a group, we were able to keep Nikayla and her family in their home, provide a little peace of mind for her. So thanks to all of our listeners, to all of you for your continued generosity. Each week, the O'Neill Foundation of Hope helps 3 to 4 families. O'NeillHope.org is where you can go to nominate someone or to donate, support our cause as well. It's a 501c3. We're grateful for your generosity, Scott.
Yeah, it's such a cool, the O'Neill Foundation of Hope is such a cool deal because you actually get to see. I mean, they're local people that you're helping. It's not money sent somewhere that you don't know where it's going. I mean, it is specific needs. They need 3 months of rent. They need a new car. They need, or I should say, a car. They need a place to live. It's boots on the ground actually helping, and just very, very cool that you guys started that and that it's taken off so great.
Yeah, and again, good example of somebody literally, she picked up a second job at Walmart. Young gal, she's hustling. I love seeing that in the world. I mean, how do you get ahead in life? You hustle. So just a shout out to her. Scott, we're in our final segment of the show, and again, we had a few other text message questions come in. Just wanted to touch on a couple other listings before we hit those briefly. Justin Voss has one in Prior Lake, one for 200 Timothy in Prior Lake for 400,000. Scott, boating on Prior Lake. Home has lake access, 4-bed, 2-bath. It's just a wonderful Prior Lake location. Nadia Hoppy has one in Elk River, 14124 192nd Avenue in Elk River, 405,000. Scott, was recently a price reduced to 405. 4 beds on 1 level, heated 2-car garage, new composite deck, and an open over 1 acre lot. And then the last ones we've got our friend Suzanne Joy. Suzanne Joy is doing some opens today. First one she's doing is in Prior Lake in the Wilds, 3144 Wilds Ridge Court. She's doing an open from 11 to 1. It's a 3-bed, 3-bath end unit townhome, overlooks the 6th hole with stunning golf course views, open concept. You've got priced at $597 for this. It's move-in ready, minutes from the lakes, dining, and recreation. Again, 3144 Wilds Ridge Court, Scott. And our last one is a home tomorrow. This one's in Lakeville. Suzanne Joy will be there September 7th, 11 to 12:30. It is the 3-bed, 4-bath home. Lots of updates. Hardwood floors on the main level. Finished lower levels made for fun. Wet bar, plenty of room to gather. Upstairs, retreat to your private owner's suite. It's a mix of style, comfort, and charm. It's right in Country Creek in Lakeville. You know where Country Creek is, Scott?
I do, actually. And I was just thinking, Suzanne Joy is one of my favorite humans on the planet. Ryan knows this. Just a great gal, super agent. If you are out there and are not happy with your real estate search, or you're not working with an agent, I can tell you, if you're in that area of Lakeville, go by and see Suzanne, and you could do way worse than having her help you.
9485 204th Street in Lakeville is where she'll be tomorrow from 11 to 12:30. Scott, we had some other texts that came in. This one says, my wife searches MLS regularly to see what homes have sold in the area. She noticed a lot of homes that have sold, but were never listed. Would these possibly be, quote, guaranteed offer, unquote, sales, or possibly older folks selling their homes to their kids' family? Just curious. Thanks again.
Well, it could be any of those things. It wouldn't be the guaranteed sale, because the percentage of homes that they're buying is so minimal. It wouldn't make sense that it would be in your neighborhood.
Non-MLS could be non-MLS.
Could be non-MLS where they've got it pre-listed, where they don't actually physically put it on an MLS, but their brokerage people in their brokerage have access to it. It could be what we call a soft sale, which you already had a buyer in your pocket, and you approached that seller and said, hey, I've got a buyer that would be willing to buy your house. Those are all the things, but it wouldn't be the guaranteed sale. There's just not enough volume there.
Got to hit this one too. Is it the buyer or seller that pays the realtor fees? And when it says negotiable, what is the current rate? It could be either party, the buyer or the seller, that pays commissions, and it is negotiable. We had the big commission shakeup last year that changed things for the industry. I would say, generally speaking, overall in our industry, commissions have remained flat or frankly increased in some areas. It could be the buyer or the seller that pays it. I would say, Scott, when the question says, what is the current rate? How would you answer that?
Well, there isn't really a current rate, but it depends. Every agent's a little bit different. But I would say that the most average rate is probably 6%. A lot of times agents, if it's a past client or if it's a referred client, and maybe does it a little bit less than that. And do sellers pay commissions, or do buyers pay commissions? Buyers have always paid their commissions, and sellers have always paid their commissions. When you list a house at 6%, you're listing it with, let's say, Coldwell Banker. So Coldwell Banker has the 6%. We as a broker agree to split that with a cooperating broker, another outside agent. And that's what's been going on in the industry. That's the same thing that's going on in the industry right now. The only difference is they've called attention to it.
Yeah, and again, from a rate standpoint, be sure to sit down, talk to your agent. Sometimes an agent may go in and say, "We're going to charge you 3% to sell your home," but what that means is that's the 3% on the listing side of the commission. Then in the purchase agreement, the buyer's agent, a buyer's broker, may be asking for a commission, say 2.5, 2.7, 3%. That adds to the 3% that you're going to pay. So you need to understand the full boat, the full picture. It's important to work with somebody that you can trust, that's going to be honest, explain the full picture. And frankly, it depends upon your market as well. But again, a lot of options out there. There's always been the flat fee companies, that the low commission companies, the full service companies. So we're happy to help. That's a long answer.
Yeah, for sure.
Great job, Scott.
Yeah, you too. Appreciate everybody tuning in.
Hey, Rye, nice work, buddy.
Hey, I do what I can for you two.
Ryan Perpich, you need your own show on CCO.
Well, you know who to email about that.
Hey, we love Rye. Thanks for listening, everybody. Enjoy the weekend. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. Thanks for joining. A lot of questions today. A lot of good ones, Scott.
Yeah, it was. The commission thing is it's interesting, and it's annoyed me from the beginning. Still does annoy me because commissions have gone up. The point of this lawsuit was that they thought commissions were going to go down, and all it's done because of the way that it is now structured. And Ryan uses the example of 3%. It's happening a lot where agents go in and say, "Oh, I'm just listing your house for 3%." Well, 99.84% of all buyer commissions is 2.7%.
Sure.
And so that's what's going to be written in. So just understand that if you have a 3% listing and, hey, let's see what the agent's going to write, you're paying 5.7%.
Yeah. Really good stuff. Hey, it's been a fun show. It's cold out. Get out to the Parade of Homes today. And Scott, we're going to be back next week with Mr. Mike, with our partners. And again, thanks to Ryan Perpich. Been a fun show, everybody. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll see you again soon.
Thanks, guys.